Welcome back to Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet. I'm Josh.
And I'm Kristie. We're coming up on America's birthday, so get ready for some hot dogs, apple pie, and fireworks. Yeehaw!
It's our most American episode ever, so let's jump into the first story.
Am I the asshole for not forgiving my sister and nephew after it was their fault a firework accidentally hit me?
I mean, I feel like you should forgive your family eventually, but also it hurts to get hit by a firework.
So for context, all of this happened on the 4th of July. Me, female 27, and my husband, male 29, threw a party and all of our family and friends came over. Of them was my sister, female 30, and her son, male 13. There were about 40 people there, including a few children and my 1-year-old son. So we had fireworks, obviously, for the 4th, and I'm already not the biggest fan of them. My nephew was very excited to light a few off, but his mom and dad both told him no. He kept messing with them even when it was still light out. So at like 6 p.m., everyone says we can start lighting them. I said, okay, and I walked into our backyard because my son was playing in his backyard area with some of his cousins. I was going to get the kids inside. As I'm walking, I was hit with a firework. It primarily hit my shoulder/chest area. At first, it did not hurt because I was just so confused what happened. But as soon as my husband grabbed me yelling, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" It was excruciating.
Okay, so sounds like it wasn't a little firework.
I'm fine now, but I ended up getting so many medications, a surgery, and another 6 months of doctor's appointments. I stayed in the hospital for 2 days.
Okay, kind of a big firework then.
It was my nephew who had accidentally hit me, the 13-year-old. He was messing around with his dad's lighter and didn't realize it was a bottle rocket which was going to fly. Edit, I have since been corrected by my husband. It wasn't a bottle rocket, it was a Roman candle firework.
Oh, okay, not as big as I feared, but still painful to get hit by.
I mean, in the hospital for 2 days and then 6 months of doctor's appointments after that, it seems like it was a pretty serious injury.
Yeah, sounds like it was a solid hit.
When my husband told me it was my nephew, I was absolutely fucking pissed. I had told my sister 1,000,000 times to be careful and make him be careful, and she didn't watch him or stop him. I was literally walking to get my baby. What would have happened if I was walking back with him on my hip? Of course, I got an apology right away from my sister. I didn't take it well. A few weeks after surgery, I finally received an apology from my nephew. It was half-assed and obvious his parents made him. I told my sister that as of now, I do not accept her apology or her son's. I'm so fucking angry and terrified what would have happened if I had had my son in my arms. My husband agrees. He's more mad than I am. My sister called me and was crying. She was like, "I am so sorry," and all that. I did feel a little bad, and I was like, listen, you're my sister. You're always going to be my sister. I love you. But right now, I cannot speak with you. I need space. She called me a bitch. Am I the asshole for this?
That was a hell of a heel turn at the end there. I was like, oh, she's very apologetic and she's over-apologizing. You just want your space, but she needs you to know that she is very sorry. And then at the end, you're like, I need space. And she just goes straight to, you bitch.
Yeah, that seems like, I mean, sister knows she's in the wrong, but how dare you not accept her apology, you bitch?
Sorry, remind me what the 13-year-old thought was going to happen.
He didn't know. He was just messing around with his dad's lighter with the fireworks.
Because I don't understand what 13-year-old thought was going to happen when he was messing around with a lighter and a firework. What was his expected end result there?
That he would get to light and shoot a firework and everyone would go, wow, what a beautiful firework. I don't know. You just know that, like, sometimes teenage boys are dumb and they want to play with things that blow up. And it's dangerous.
Yeah, but 13 is old enough to know not to point it at people and know that if you light that wick, it's going to go off. It sounds like it is entirely his fault. He's being really dumb. I don't think anyone's arguing that point.
I feel like this is also a lack of parenting on sister, because nephew kept saying he was excited to light off a few, but his mom and dad both told him no. You should, like, if you know he really wants to light it off and he's really excited about it and you tell him no, you got to keep an eye on him and make sure he doesn't try and sneak some off and light them himself.
Yeah, I guess mom and dad did say no, so what was he doing with the lighter in the first place? Like, I know a Roman candle is not, like, it's not the biggest firework. That's a very entry-level firework. But if your parents say you shouldn't have it, then sorry, you shouldn't have it. Especially if you don't know, like, the first safety rule of don't point it at anyone.
Top comment, NTA, let them pay the medical bills.
Was that even brought up at any point?
No, the medical bills were never brought up, but I do feel like sister should be paying them. Because surgery ain't cheap, and neither is a 2-day hospital stay.
And no, I mean, hopefully OP has insurance that covered up most of that, but she still has a copay. So yeah, they should probably reimburse you that copay. They are your sister.
Someone replied, OP needs to retain an attorney immediately. Anything serious enough to require surgery can easily have lifelong consequences that may well need cash and a lot of it to manage around.
Yeah, I don't know. That feels like that is entirely up to OP. This is still an immediate family member, and it sounds like she does not want to burn that bridge long term. Once you hire a lawyer, that bridge is gone. Although sister just turning around and calling you a name when you didn't accept the apology, the bridge is in shambles right now.
Another comment, NTA, and I'd honestly blame his dad as well. What kind of absolute child-endangering moron gives a child a lighter in the first place? OP replied, I know, right? Beats me.
Did Dad give the lighter to him?
We just know that it was Dad's lighter. So he either gave it to him or the kid snuck it off of him.
Right, because Mom and Dad said, no, you can't light off any fireworks. So once Mom and Dad say no, I can't think of any reason why the kid would just want to borrow your lighter for some reason.
NTA, and can I just point out that if your sister is calling you a bitch for needing space, then she isn't actually sorry at all. Apologies should be given with honesty and true remorse, and with the understanding that forgiveness is not compulsory. They are failing to understand the real pain and trauma they caused you, and how it could have potentially been so much worse. Your nephew's complete disregard for you, his parents, and common sense in general would make me want to go no contact with all of them. But at the very least, it would mean no more invitations where he is included. He cannot be trusted.
I think it's fairly common knowledge that Reddit is just full of people who very passionately want to tell you to cut off all ties with your family and everyone you know.
Yeah, because I don't know if I would go no contact. I mean, he's 13. He made a really dumb mistake.
A really dumb mistake.
Yeah, so you do need space for a while. And then I don't know if I would cut off all contact, but when I did invite him back, he'd never be invited back to anything with fireworks. And I would keep an eye on that kid. Make sure he doesn't do anything dumb.
I'm going to milk that for the rest of his natural life.
You remember that time you shot me with a firework? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you don't want to come over and help me clean the gutters? Remember that time you shot me with a firework?
Yeah, but Reddit thinks not the asshole. This wasn't just an accident. It was negligence. And, they don't even really seem remorseful.
Am I the asshole for donating $500 cowboy boots?
I mean, I know cowboy boots can be super expensive, but if you don't want them anymore, what are you going to do with them? Donate them.
So I've been dating this guy for about 8 months. He moved to another state recently and asked me to help clean out his apartment. He left a pile of clothes and stuff, and he needed an itemized list, as he wanted all the stuff in the pile donated. I did both. He still has his old apartment and comes back occasionally for work. The last few times I've seen him there, he's mentioned a pair of cowboy boots he'd misplaced. Couldn't find them in the old place or the new place. I finally checked the donation list this morning because he brought up the boots again, and I put 2 and 2 together. They were on the list because they were in the pile. So, I accidentally donated a pair of $500 cowboy boots. I feel like shit about it. He was like, well, shit happens. But he was real quiet this morning after we figured it out and I booked it. He's wealthy compared to me, so I can't afford to outright replace the boots. I picked up some breakfast I know he likes and left it at his work. Enough for a team of people to share. I'm also planning on using Etsy to send him a Christmas ornament that says, sorry about your cowboy boots. I also plan on calling the donation center, but I'm sure those puppies are long gone. Anyways, I'm thinking this is the part where he ghosts me. Am I the asshole? They were in the pile.
I feel like not the asshole. You were doing him a favor. He said all of this needs to be donated. It's his mistake, really, not yours. Also, I want to know, he wanted an itemized list of everything that was being donated. Did she give that to him before she donated everything or after she donated everything?
I'm assuming after, because it's more for tax purposes than it is him actually caring.
Okay, yeah. Because I was like, it would be nice if you gave it to him before so he can double check that everything on there is stuff he wants to be donated. And then if he missed the cowboy boots again, it's doubly on him. But I was kind of thinking along the lines you are. He just wanted this after you donated everything for tax purposes. So then, I mean, it's still on him. It was his mistake. He put the cowboy boots in the pile of stuff to donate.
Yeah, I don't think it's OP's fault that they didn't know that those were $500 cowboy boots in the pile.
Yeah, I mean, I know cowboy boots can be expensive, but I wouldn't have expected them to be that much. And even if I did know, I'd be like, well, they're in the donate pile. I guess we're donating them.
Top comment. No assholes here. He said shit happens, so drop it. Ornament? Just no.
Yeah, I didn't like the ornament thing. It's nice that you got him and his coworkers breakfast as a little, hey, I'm sorry, shit happened. And it's not really my fault, but it's kind of something I did, but it's mostly your fault. But I'm sorry shit happened and I was involved in it, somewhat. But I feel like the ornament is just like beating a dead horse.
Even the part where that morning he was especially quiet, he's probably mad at himself for putting the cowboy boots in the pile. I know I would be, at least.
Yeah, it's not necessarily that he's mad with you. He's just mad in general and upset that his cowboy boots are gone, and he's just sad.
They were very nice cowboy boots. So, yeah, I'd be sad that they're gone too. I'm just mad in general, though, not mad specifically at you. Another comment. Not the asshole, honest mistake. I wouldn't worry about replacing them. It sounds like he can easily afford it. Edit. Don't do the Christmas ornament thing. It sounds weird, and it would be weird to remind him of this on a Christmas tree for all time.
Yeah, I wonder if she's like thinking this is going to be like in 20 years when they're married, this is going to be a funny ha-ha story that they bring up all the time. No, just let this story die. This is not something you need to make a memory out of. It's just going to make him sad every time you bring it up. I loved those cowboy boots.
Another comment. Not the asshole. They accidentally got mixed into a donation pile. Shit happens, but this is a good lesson in double checking what is getting donated. You say you've been dating for 8 months, so I'd guess you've seen him wear them a bunch. Or they're well taken care of and stored in a boot bag. I think anytime we donate stuff on behalf of someone else, it's worth double checking. But mistakes happen and you shouldn't beat yourself up over it. It sounds like he's bummed but not mad at you based on how you wrote this. So since you've already apologized, I'd let it go. I'm not understanding the ornament thing. I think it's kind of weird. Everybody has to comment on the ornament.
'Cause it is kind of weird. And we're like, what? Why an ornament? Why? I just don't understand.
At the end of the day, you were trying to help him out and do him a favor taking care of this for him.
Does she ever reply to any of the comments about the ornament?
OP does have one reply that is essentially a little update.
Okay.
We talked it out. He is the nicest guy in the freaking world, I swear. He brings it up every now and then to tease me, but I'm so happy it's just a joke. No ghosting here.
Oh, good. He didn't ghost her over it. I didn't think he would, but you never can tell.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the weirdest thing I've heard somebody ghosting someone else over, but it does not seem like a ghostable offense. It sounds like it was his fault. He said they were ostrich. I'm so frustrated with myself for not recognizing them as fancy, but honestly, shit like that isn't even on my radar.
You can make boots out of ostrich?
Yeah, I think it's softer leather.
Okay.
Although it's not very American, so I apologize for that. Cowboy boots should be made out of cow.
American cow.
I won't do the ornament thing. I had a magnet made for him a while ago because he's constantly losing his phone, wallet, and keys. The magnet is a checklist that says, cock, wallet, phone, keys. So that's where the Etsy ornament idea originated. The magnet is on his front door at his new place. Thanks. What is that first item on the list?
Don't forget to take that with you. I know it's attached, but don't forget about it. Okay, don't leave that at home. Do not leave home without that.
He's got that on his front door.
I mean, I assume on the inside of his front door, so as he's unlocking to leave, he can be like, yes, 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 I have all 4 of those things.
I guess so. My mom sees the inside of my front door.
Yeah, I'm not hanging that anywhere in my house.
But Reddit is pretty unanimous. There's no assholes here. It was an honest mistake. Don't overreact.
Hey, if you're enjoying this episode so far, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button.
It really helps us out, and it lets us know we should keep making fun content like this for you.
Am I the asshole for leaving my brother's truck in pieces and up on Jack's over a hot dog?
That must have been a damn good hot dog. But my initial reaction is, you're probably an asshole, but maybe a justified asshole, because leaving your brother's truck up on cinder blocks over a petty offense is like a time-honored hillbilly tradition.
Mechanic here. My brother's 87 Toyota pickup blew its rear bearing and axle seals, spraying grease and gear oil all over the brake shoes and drums. Extremely dangerous to drive on it like that. So I offered to fix it for him this weekend.
Sorry, how old is this post?
It's 4 years old, but that car is as old as I am.
That's why I was asking. I wanted to know exactly how old this pickup truck was.
About 34 years old at the time of this post.
Very nice.
I had the driver's side rear axle off and out of the truck and was in the process of pressing out the old and blown out bearing when he came out of the house with hot dogs that he made for lunch. A little bit of background. My brother is, to put it lightly, an immature jackass at times who thinks smearing ketchup on the back of my sweatshirts is all fun and games, and that's exactly what he did.
That's a hard stain to get out, isn't it?
Yeah, ketchup is not the best.
I mean, OP is actively working with various oils and greases right now, but I'm sure that OP knows how to get those out of clothing a lot better than ketchup.
When I stood up and said, "What the hell?" all he did was say, "It's just a prank. You're covered in grease and dirt anyway. How much longer is this going to take before I can drive it?"
Sorry, that is the most brother response to you doing them a favor.
I said, "Apologize and throw my sweatshirt in the wash and I'll get back to it, but I'm taking a break until it's out of the dryer, however long that takes." Which I thought was doing him a favor because I'm a nice person, I guess. He followed that with, "Quit your bitchin'. The weather is nice and you don't need a sweatshirt. Finish the damn truck." He went back inside, so I packed up my tools and left everything as it was out on his driveway.
So one of those hot dogs wasn't even for you?
Yeah, he doesn't mention what happened to the hot dogs after ketchup got smeared on the back of his sweatshirt. Who ate the hot dogs? Did he take the hot dogs back inside with him? Because, yeah, I'd be mad if you took a hot dog away from me.
Right, I was wondering if he made lunch for the two of you, but it sounds like he just got mad that you didn't appreciate him smearing ketchup on your clothing and then went back inside. Did he take the hot dogs with him? That's the important part.
He got pissed later and told me to grow up and help him because he doesn't know how to do this kind of work on his own. I told him to find a YouTube video or two on the subject and buy a Haynes manual. Am I the asshole for leaving his truck the way it was? Or should I suck it up and go finish the job? Weather's calling for rain tomorrow too, LOL. Sucks to be him right now.
I don't think you're the asshole here. It sounds like he was not being very appreciative of you doing him a pretty big favor. Was OP even charging him for all this labor?
I don't think he was. So he's just doing his brother a favor and fixing his truck. His brother comes out and smears gunk on him. And then is like, "Quit your bitching and fix my truck."
Yeah, that's the kind of attitude you want someone to have when you're doing, it sounds like thousands of dollars of labor for him.
In your free time. Like, just taking a whole weekend day to do this for him.
Like, that is not a very cheap repair OP is doing. I feel like a mechanic would have charged him a lot of money.
Top comment. NTA. I will never understand the people that fuck with someone that is doing them a favor and then get all shocked when the favor is taken back. OP replied, "Yep, don't bite the hand that feeds you."
You really gotta show a certain amount of gratefulness when somebody is doing you such a big favor, especially because sounds like you can't fix this yourself. So you're completely dependent on your brother fixing this for you.
NTA, I'm with you on this one. Your brother needs to grow up and appreciate it when someone does something nice for him. He totally blew this. This is on him. All he had to do was wash and dry the sweatshirt, and he couldn't even do that. He got what he deserves. Someone replied, all he had to do was not smear ketchup all over the person, doing him a time and labor-intensive favor.
I think that's the key point right there. Just don't do that. Because now OP is asking you to put his sweater through the washing machine, and it sounds like there might be some grease and oil on it too, and I don't want to put his greasy, oily sweater through my washing machine. No offense, I know you're doing me a favor. I feel like your sweater has become hand wash only.
Maybe take it outside and use the power washer on it first to get all that gunk and grease and oil off of it. And then you can put it in the washing machine.
Maybe. I still feel like it might just be hand wash, hang dry.
NTA, and this is hilarious. Don't smear ketchup on a gift horse or something like that. And then there is a little update. He ended up trying to press his new bearing and retaining ring himself after watching half of a video and pressed in the bearing at an angle instead of it going into the receiving cup and down the axle. It stopped and he kept pressing anyway and crushed his front dust seal, cracked the front of the hub, and warped his receiving cup. The whole axle is pretty much scrap metal, and when I told him a new assembly that isn't from a junkyard would be about $300 to $500, he shit his pants and is now demanding that I pay for it. Some people never learn.
I think your brother should just be grateful that he only did $300 to $500 worth of damage to this truck.
Yeah, but it is still in pieces, and now he's got to pay someone to put it all back together. So this is turning into a very expensive mistake.
I have to assume brother does not have any kind of tool to help him press that bearing.
I don't know anything about cars or what that even means, so I just read a bunch of gibberish to me, but I figured so maybe somebody knew what it meant.
Okay. Yeah, well, there are bearings in a car.
Okay. Got it.
So, I don't know. There are nice tools to help you press it. I think there's ways to, like, redneck solution the problem. I've never personally pressed a bearing, but I have to assume that OP is much better at it than brother who's just learning from a YouTube channel.
Half a YouTube video.
Half a YouTube video, even better. I got the gist of it.
But anyways, Reddit says not the asshole, and they kind of think that this falls under the play stupid games, win stupid prizes umbrella.
Am I the asshole for eating only part of a piece of pie and throwing the rest away?
As a baker, that is a little hurtful when someone does not enjoy your pie and throws half of their piece of pie away. But as a picky eater, I can totally understand not wanting to finish something that I did not enjoy.
I am on a trip with my girlfriend's extended family for about a week. My girlfriend picked some fruit and made 2 pies for dinner last night for about 10 people. By the end of the night, I hadn't yet had a piece, but only half of 1 pie remained. My girlfriend is a really good cook, and she said some people were wanting it for breakfast. I didn't want an entire piece because I don't really like this type of pie very much. Or any type, really. I hate the filling and love the crust. I only wanted the crust on the edge and crust on top of the pie. So I took a normal slice of pie, each pie has about 8 slices, and I ate the crust on the edge and on the top of the pie. I threw all the filling away and the bottom of the pie away.
Yeah, that seems just kind of wasteful. Like, dude, if you just tell me that you only want crust and I will bake you just some pie crust. Just an empty pie crust on the side, just on the side, when I'm baking the pies.
The filling of this pie was definitely the part she worked hardest on, right? She hand-picked the fruit and made the pie filling.
Yeah, she didn't even go like the easy canned pie filling route. She like made this pie filling from scratch with stuff she picked herself.
Right, I think the only time we ever make our pie filling from scratch is when we do apple pie.
Because I hate the canned apple pie filling. But like strawberry, love the canned stuff. Cherry, love the canned stuff. But apple pie filling from a can is gross and I want real apples.
And usually we do buy them at the grocery store. A couple times we have gone to an orchard and picked the apples beforehand. And that made pretty good apple pies, honestly. But the crust is not the star of that show.
Yeah, I have to say that like peeling and cutting up the apples and then spicing them takes a lot longer than making the pie crust.
It takes longer than mixing flour and lard. That's the part OP wants. He wants to just eat lard.
Okay, lard is gross. Don't put lard in pies. Use butter or vegetable shortening. Not lard.
I told my girlfriend about this, and she was upset and said that I shouldn't have just eaten the crust, that other people were looking forward to eating it for breakfast and really liked it, and unless I eat the whole piece, it's a little selfish and wasteful. She was a bit mad, but I told her that everyone already had their piece, and this was my piece, and I could eat it however I wanted to. I felt like just eating the crust and leaving the rest there would be rude. I don't see how only eating part of the piece was rude. Am I the asshole for taking a serving of pie knowing I was only planning on eating the crust part of it and throwing the rest away?
Okay, I personally, if you did this, would be very mad if you ate the crust and then threw the rest away and didn't offer it to me, because the filling is actually the best part, and I will eat just straight pie filling. Why didn't you give it to me? I would have enjoyed that and you threw it away.
I didn't even think about that part. Opie didn't even ask his girlfriend if, hey, do you want this part? I just wanted to eat the fatty bits on top.
Yeah, and like, I also feel like a lot of people there were really enjoying the pie. He probably could have asked anyone there, hey, does anybody want this part of the pie that I don't want? And then just like, with a clean fork and knife, take off the part you want. And then clean knife and fork the other part to the other person, you know? So you're not eating after each other. That's okay with like boyfriend, girlfriend, or married couple, but like your girlfriend's family doesn't want to eat after you. I just feel like there was someone who would have liked to eat that pie filling in the bottom crust.
Also, if OP only likes the crust, there is always so much leftover crust after you finish making up the pies. There's just scraps of crust that could very easily be rolled out and tossed in the oven next to the pies.
Yeah, because you roll out the dough and then put it in the pan and then you like cut off the edges. All those edges could just be baked separately. I also feel like the girlfriend maybe should know that he only likes the crust by this point. Like if I knew you only like the crust, I would save all those scraps for you and make sure they were baked nicely for you.
I mean, I guess it depends on how long they've been dating. It sounds like something that you don't learn about somebody else until like Thanksgiving comes around.
That is true. Okay, so anyways, do I think you're the asshole? Maybe a little bit, but also not hugely.
As much as someone can be for wasting a single slice of pie. It is just one slice of pie at the end of the day, but it is a slice of pie that a lot of people wanted.
Tomorrow morning, everybody's going to be fighting over those 3 remaining pieces of pie. And it could have been 4. However, I do also think everybody else also already got 1 piece of pie. You kind of also deserve a piece too, even if you don't eat the whole thing.
Personally, I don't know if OP does deserve a piece of pie if they're just going to eat the crust off the top. That feels like you didn't have a piece of pie to me.
You just had some baked dough.
Top comment, if you don't like a food item, don't eat it. That includes only eating a fraction of the pie and throwing the rest away. These were 2 handmade pies with hand-picked fruit, and you took a serving and threw 90% of that serving into the bin. This seems really wasteful and disrespectful of your girlfriend's skill, time, and effort. You're the asshole for deliberately wasting food.
I mean, yeah, I guess my mom always did tell me I was not allowed to take a piece of cake or a cupcake and only eat the frosting. That was rude and wasteful, and I was not allowed to do that because people would think I was rude. And people definitely think OP is rude, right?
Absolutely.
That's not an impression you want to be making on your girlfriend's family.
That's also a good point. He's supposed to be on his best behavior here.
So not only is your girlfriend mad that you wasted something she worked so hard on, she's also embarrassed by you. Because that's bad manners.
Somebody else comments, as a home baker, you would have been tossed into timeout for a while. Ask her nicely to just bake you some extra crust when she makes her pies, OP. It doesn't take that much effort when you're already making a pie or 2. Plus, if she's getting fancy with like the decorations on top, chances are she like cookie cuttered out some stars and stuff to like put on top of the pie and make it look nice. She could very easily cookie cutter out some extra stars.
Oh yeah, for my pies, I always cookie cutter out some flowers and leaves and then put that on top of the lattice for decoration.
Another comment, you're the asshole. You could have asked someone to share it with you. Deliberately throwing good food away is always an ass move.
Yeah, I feel like just peeling the crust off is kind of rude, but doing that and not offering the rest of the pie to anyone else, it makes it even ruder.
I do kind of wonder if OP likes the pie crust to have just that hint of filling flavor.
Oh yeah, because it's got a coating of like fruit jelly almost on the back of it, right?
Yeah, just the barest amount that absorbed into the bottom. And that does make the pie crust better. I wonder if OP needs that tiny, tiny amount of fruit flavoring.
But anyways, I feel like this is like, it is an asshole move, but it's not a huge asshole move. Like, this is not unrecoverable from. Just don't do it again.
And I feel like Reddit's opinion is similar to that. They're not, like, furious at OP. They're mostly just mad that OP wasted food and wasted girlfriend's time and effort. Also, maybe you owe girlfriend an apology.
Am I the asshole for telling an American guy that he should stop calling himself German?
Ooh, this one's going to depend on the circumstances.
I'm German, and I was traveling last weekend through Spain. I stayed at a hostel at a mixed room, and some of the roommates were American. At night, we were all mingling and talking about each other, and one of the American guys, upon hearing I was German, told me, "Oh, a fellow German." At this point, I wasn't actually sure if he was American, so I asked in German if he was German. He mumbled a bit and said, "Haha, sorry, I'm German, but I don't actually speak the language, only a few sentences."
Okay, I do think at the beginning there, he was just trying to relate to you and start a friendly conversation. But it sounds like he forgot that outside of the United States, you have to add in, "I am of German descent." That's just like a shortened version of that statement that we use in the USA. Like here we say, oh, I'm Irish. But what I really mean was my grandma was Irish and she immigrated to the country. You just gotta reword things when you're in other countries.
But he kept bringing up about how being German shaped his life, how important German culture was. Like he apparently celebrates Oktoberfest every year, and so on.
Who doesn't? That's a fun one.
I asked why he said he was German if he was actually American, and he said that it was because his great-grandfather was German and his grandmother was German-Irish. Okay, whatever that means. I asked him if he knew where his great-granddad was from, and surprisingly he did. Hamburg. But this was extra hilarious because then it makes no sense for the guy to celebrate Oktoberfest, as that's a Bavarian thing. Yeah, nowadays you can find Oktoberfest in any major German city, but it's not tradition, only commercial.
Does it kind of sound like maybe OP is purposefully trying to pick a fight here? Like, it does sound like he's maybe just angry that this person of German descent tried to relate to him. And he's like, why are you claiming my heritage?
I don't know. It feels like this American guy is like, Germany is such a huge part of my identity. It is so important to me. And he might have never even been to Germany.
Yeah, but it sounds like his great-grandparents immigrated to the USA. So German heritage probably was a big part of his upbringing. And maybe his grandparents taught him, a lot of German traditions. It just sounds like they're having two different conversations here to me.
I still didn't say anything, and we just kept talking. The guy kept making all these remarks about German culture and German food, like hot dog with sauerkraut. Question mark, question mark?
Okay, he did not say hot dog, you liar. He said bratwurst or something.
Me and my friends were then planning to go look for a place to drink, and he asked to come with us, so the Germans could stick together. We had a few beers at a bar, and he once again brought up something about being German, and saying he was going to get the German flag tattooed in Germany. By this point, I was already a bit tipsy and annoyed, and I told him, "Can you please stop saying that? You're not German, my friend. You're American, of German descent. You don't even know about German culture or food, and how to speak. You're really annoying me."
Why did you invite him out for beers?
He kind of invited himself.
I guess.
The guy looked pretty angry and annoyed, and kind of scoffed and tried to jokingly say, "You're right, I'd rather be American. At least then I can say I didn't lose a world war." At that point, me and my friends were rolling our eyes so hard that we just moved to a different place. Later, some other guy, not related to us, told me that the guy was pretty annoyed and sad that I told him he wasn't German, because apparently that was a big part of his identity. Now, I don't know, was I the asshole for not letting him live in his delusion?
I kind of feel like everyone sucks here. Like, he was laying it on thick, and I don't know why he had to resort to bringing up World War II when his feelings got hurt. That seems... He had nothing to do with that. He's not old enough to have anything to do with that. But also, OP... I feel like OP understood the initial part about German descent being what he meant, and OP's just like, you're not using the proper language when you're speaking, and instead of bringing it up and being like, oh, you're of German descent, I thought you meant you were from Germany. And then having a friendly conversation, OP sounds like they were just openly hostile to this person. I don't know. The second he's like, I'd like to come with you to the bar, and you hate him this much, you probably should have been like, sorry, this is just a friend's thing. And I know some people put sauerkraut on their hot dogs. I really don't believe that he said hot dog. Yes, that is the most important part to me.
I'm going to say up front that the comment section is strictly divided between Europeans and Americans. They have very different opinions on this.
That's exactly how I assumed the comment section would be.
Someone in the comments says, NTA, Americans need a reality check on this topic. No, you're not Irish or German or whatever other nationality your ancestors came from. Why not just be proud of being a whole new thing, bred of people who took chances and built lives from scratch on a new continent? Someone replied, when Americans in America say they're German or Irish or whatever, it means of that nationality's descent. It's a cultural colloquialism that we use as a nation of immigrants to find a connection with our heritage and ancestors. We know we're not of that nationality. It's just a way of speaking that means something different than it does in Europe. That being said, this guy is taking it too far and sounds like a crazy person. Even in America, this would be weird and confusing, and people would call him out.
Sorry, what country are they in?
They were traveling in Spain and met in a hostel.
Okay, so he's in Europe. And I feel like anybody that, when you go to Europe, you should understand that you have to add on that little qualifier of, German descent. I feel like this is just a very well-known difference in language here, and he's not adapting when he goes to another country.
Yeah, like when I'm talking with people in America about like where our families originally came from and stuff like way back, like I'm like, yeah, I'm Polish and Hungarian and Russian and German. But if I ever went to Europe, I would never say that. I would say I'm American, but my great-grandfather was from Poland. So I feel like this German American guy, like, he should have known that, right?
I feel like he probably should have. I also still feel like the German guy knows that the guy is using the language in an American fashion and not adapting to the area, and he seems mad that the guy is talking like an American. It just feels to me like maybe he came into the conversation a little more hostile than he needed to.
Another comment. NTA, I'm Italian, born and living in Italy, and boy, I've lost track of how many Americans I've had to give that speech to in multiple gaming groups. Like, for real, every time I join one and it comes up that I'm Italian, there's always one that gets up doing exactly that kind of thing that dude did on your trip. I don't know why they do it, I can't understand, but it's annoying. So, people from other countries really don't like that Americans are claiming their nationalities. But someone from America points out, lots of people here bashing this aspect of American culture instead of just calling out the assholes who take it too far and can't understand that there's a difference between American German or American Italian and being actually German or Italian. It's how we speak about our specific cultural backgrounds in a melting pot nation of immigrants and their descendants. But most of us recognize it's totally different from actually being from that country.
Yeah, I feel like this is just a cultural misunderstanding between the Americans and the non-Americans, and some assholes do take it too far. And that guy is Italian, and I will say, Italian Americans love to say that they're Italian.
They do.
That is probably the group that is most guilty of doing this.
NTA, people from North America have a different definition of being X, with many of them identifying with the culture of their parents or grandparents, even if they themselves have never stepped foot in that country. This is fairly normal here and just a different way of speaking and viewing culture. With that said, the guy should still have been able to realize this and understand that he is German, not in the same way you are. He sounds like he was quite obnoxious about it, so I feel like you were in your right to correct him.
I do feel like OP was in his right to correct this person. I just wish that they had done it a little sooner in the conversation instead of waiting until they're all drunk. Like, you can speak your feelings earlier in the conversation, friend. It'll probably go better for everybody if you're not drunk.
So overall, on Reddit, the Europeans are mad about this. The Americans are like, yeah, that guy's kind of an asshole, but I mean, not a huge deal.
Which I think is about how I expected that to go. It's just a cultural difference and nobody being willing to talk about their feelings until they're drunk. Am I the asshole for asking people to bring food to a barbecue?
Wouldn't that just make it like a potluck barbecue? I feel like that's pretty common. Not the asshole.
I'm American. My husband is Australian, if that plays into this at all. My husband and I are at odds over this. We've invited about 6 families over for a barbecue this weekend. I asked for his friend's contact info. He invited 2 families. I invited 4. To start a group text saying something along the lines of, planning on starting around X time. If you want to bring a side app dessert, that would be great. We'll have plenty of mains. I am planning on smoking a brisket or ribs depending on timing, chicken wings, brats, hot dogs for the kids, spending around $200 including some beer and non-alcoholic drinks for 25 to 30 people.
I feel like this is pretty standard for a potluck barbecue thing. Like, the hosts provide all the meats, and then the guests bring sides and desserts and pop, stuff like that.
He thinks it is trashy and low class to invite people over to our house and then ask them to bring something. My take was, it's a barbecue, and my friends ask what they can bring anyway. But I'm feeling bad now, and I'm wondering if it really is viewed as tacky to try and coordinate for other people to bring sides. Is this a cultural thing? To clarify, when we've hosted parties before, birthdays and holidays, I generally take care of all the food, but I've always viewed a barbecue as more of a potluck situation. Should I be a better host and take care of sides as well?
I don't know if this is a cultural thing. I feel like in America, this is very, very common. Now, it might be idea to have one or two sides because you did say if you want to bring something, please bring a side or a dessert. So they might not bring anything. But I know that like when we have gone to a barbecue party before, they told us you don't need to bring anything. And I still brought cookies because I was like, I can't show up to a barbecue empty-handed. That is not done.
I think it's very common to ask people to bring a side, and I feel like OP also did it correctly, where they said, hey, if you'd like, bring a side. It gives... That way people don't feel like it's a cost of admission.
Yeah, it's not an obligation they have to fulfill in order to attend.
And I also agree, as the host, I might get, like, one or two staple sides for this barbecue just to make sure they're there. Like, if you're making something that just goes really good with coleslaw, maybe pick up a tub of coleslaw. You don't have to make it yourself. Just pick up a tub at the grocery store just to be safe.
Bag of chips. You need chips at a barbecue.
That's a good one, too, because I feel like when you tell people to bring a plate of food to the barbecue, they never think to bring chips. They're going to bring something that they made so it looks like they put in a little more effort.
I don't know. Sometimes people are lazy or don't have time to do the thing, so they do just go to the store and grab a bag of chips to bring to the barbecue. But you know what? There are a lot of flavors of chips. It's good to have variety.
Yeah.
So nobody is going to be mad over another bag of chips.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with having too many chips at a barbecue, I think.
However, now I am wondering, how do they do things in Australia? Because husband thinks this is tacky. Do they not have potluck barbecues in Australia?
We can jump into top comment and the top reply to top comment. Top comment, not the asshole, American here. Being asked to bring a side is perfectly normal. Somebody replied, as an Australian, asking friends to bring something to a barbecue is pretty standard. I mean, it's not expected, but no one gives a fuck if they are asked to bring a side.
Okay, so sounds like this is not an American versus Australian cultural clash. But I was also going to say, where is this barbecue taking place? In the US or in Australia?
I don't know, actually.
Okay, because I was going to say, even if in Australia they think it's tacky to bring sides, if this is taking place in America, you follow the American cultural standard, which is it's okay to ask people to bring sides.
I think that's a good way to look at it. Follow the standards of whichever country you're in. But all the Australians in the comments also say, this is completely normal. Somebody else comments, yeah, this is weird. Bring a plate is an Australian thing. In any case, there are no rules. If it's voluntary and no one gets called out if they don't bring something, then it's fine. Your husband is either overreacting or one of the guests is talking behind your back. Find out which one it is. If it's just him, then tell him to calm down. If someone said something, then you can deal with that directly.
The only other thing I can think of is that the husband is from a much richer family, and that is not done in the richer circles because the host must provide everything to show they are rich enough to do so.
I was going to bring that up too. I think it's not an American versus Australian thing. It does sound like maybe it's a class thing.
Yeah, class thing. I was like, because middle and lower class, yeah, you bring a plate. Upper class, I'm not so sure if you do.
Husband's direct quote was, he thinks it's trashy and low class.
Ooh, low class. Okay, yeah. Maybe he comes from a higher class than his partner does.
Because, yeah, us poors are like, also bring food. I spent a lot on food.
$200 is a lot of meats, okay?
Another comment, no assholes here. I'm Australian, spent a lot of time in America, been to plenty of barbecues. I really feel like there is no set rule to these, and it's more of what you were accustomed to with your family and social group. As long as people are made aware early enough to plan, then it's all good. I've been to plenty where it's bring yourself, bring a side, etc. The only one I thought was odd was bring your own meat. Didn't really see the point to that.
Yeah, that one does seem a little odd to me. And maybe that's just the class that I grew up in, but the host provides the meats and the guests provide sides and desserts.
I feel like generally the host provides the meat because if you have guests bring in their own meat, I don't want to cook all that.
And I don't want to keep track of whose burger is whose and make sure the right person gets the right burger.
Right, and if I'm smoking a brisket, I started that 2 days ago. Somebody else comments, You're providing lots of food and drink yourself, and that is a pretty big party. Unless your husband wants to be the one making all the sides and paying for them, then by all means ask your guests to bring a plate. I'm an Aussie, and I would have asked as soon as you invited me what you needed me to bring. Hell, there was even an ad by Cadbury in Australia about the social pressure of going to a barbecue, even if you're told not to bring a thing. This is not a cultural thing.
Yeah, I feel like even if you're told not to bring a thing, you know you should bring a thing. You got to figure out what you're bringing.
Yeah, I feel like that's also an American social pressure thing. The host told me not to bring anything. That asshole. Now I gotta decipher what this barbecue needs.
Just tell me what to bring and I'll bring it, please. It'd make it so much easier.
Just say bring whatever. That's how you get out of it.
Tell me to bring chips. Tell me to bring potato salad. Tell me something.
I think Reddit has the same opinion here. Most everyone in the comments, no matter what country they're from, say, if you get invited to a party like this, generally it's polite and proper to bring a side.
Am I the asshole for refusing to attend any Super Bowl parties?
I mean, I guess you're not the asshole, but you don't sound very fun.
I'm fully prepared to be named the problem here, but I'm just curious. I'm a massive Eagles fan. I'm talking tattoo, bleed green, cried when they lost the last Super Bowl fan. My fiancé has always said he loved this about me because he enjoys that I love the sport too, and we have fun rivaling each other when our teams play. He's a Niners fan. However, he knows that I'm not fun to watch games with. It's just a reality. I'm loud, I scream every play, and I'm a typical Eagles fan with the trash mouth. Again, he has always found this amusing, but insists we should watch at home to avoid public scenes. Fine by me.
Okay, but there is absolutely always at least one person at every Super Bowl party who is just way too loud for not being at the event. That's just normal sports.
This all changed yesterday when he said we were going to his family's house to watch the Super Bowl. Ordinarily, we do go watch with family. However, it's because my team isn't playing. I assumed since my team is in this year, that we would stay home for all of the reasons I just mentioned. When I said I was probably going to stay home because I don't want to make everyone feel uncomfortable, he got irritated and said that I should just rein it in. He insists that I should go because it would be weird for me not to show up because everyone is excited to watch with me. The thing is, I know I'm not fun when my team plays. I'm usually very fun, sociable, and enjoy spending time with his family. But I swear, if one person tries to distract me during this game, I'll snap. And that's not going to change overnight.
OP, it does sound like maybe you need to rein it in a little.
She takes it very seriously.
I know, but you're an adult. You can still take it really damn seriously. Just when somebody tries to come up and talk to you, be like, no, football. You can talk to me during the commercials.
And the annoying truth is that both my family and his treat me differently when I'm watching football than him. For some reason, the men are left completely alone during the game, so they don't miss a second. But I'm always approached to have conversations or help with the kid or help with food. And I'm not going to be nice about that this time. Fiancé is now upset and says I'm being selfish because I'm not willing to spend time with him during the game. So, am I the asshole for wanting to stay home alone and watch my team in the Super Bowl?
I feel like this is one that can be settled with like a blanket statement. If you know that in a situation you're an asshole, stop being an asshole. Sounds like you're aware that you're a problem.
But the thing is, she knows she's an asshole when she's watching football, and she enjoys being an asshole while she's watching football, but she knows not to inflict that assholeness on anyone else. She will stay home and watch football the way she enjoys it, in the privacy of her own home.
Yeah, it sounds like OP is aware that as an Eagles fan, she is just generally unpleasant to be near. So she has to sequester herself in her own house.
I feel like you should be able to rein yourself in. But I also feel like this is something for you that you really enjoy. If this is like your big moment, your team is in the Super Bowl, maybe you shouldn't have to rein yourself in if it's going to impact your enjoyment.
That depends entirely on just how insane OP gets during football. Because OP should absolutely be able to go to this party and just watch the game without people trying to, like, call her away from the television. Her team is in the Super Bowl, right? Anytime your team is in the championship, you don't want to leave the screen. But if she's just insane during the game, then yeah, rein yourself in. Like after the game, OP, you do not need to go outside and knock over your in-laws' street lamps.
We do that when football games are over.
Eagles fans do that when football games are over.
I'm just thinking of MSU, and we would burn couches and things after our football games.
I don't think it matters what sport. If it's like your national pastime level sport, people get kind of crazy.
Top comment. Well, I think sports fans like this are categorically insane and need to address their social skills. You are absolutely right that nobody stops men from doing it. And if his family reinforces that, it won't be fun for anyone. As long as you're not kicking through the TV or shooting guns in the air above a crowd, NTA, because you're at least self-aware enough to know that it's not fun to be around. Again, something plenty of male sports fans don't bother to acknowledge.
I don't even think it's about whether or not you can acknowledge your insane behavior. It's just, it depends entirely on how insane your behavior is. Because if you don't want to go to the party because you don't want everyone to interrupt you and try to pull you away from the TV, I can understand that a lot more than I don't want to go to the party because I'm going to pick up a rock and throw it through the big screen if my team doesn't win.
I don't think she's that crazy. She just likes to have a trash mouth when she's yelling at the TV, okay? But also, I would have to tell my partner, you know your family is going to try and interrupt me, right? While I'm watching my team in the Super Bowl. I am not going to be nice at all. Do you want me to do that and be there for that? Because I don't think you do. I'm not going to make a good impression.
You know what? Honestly, I can sympathize with OP here. Because my in-laws will just get up in the middle of Thanksgiving and turn the TV off while I'm watching football.
You're the only one watching it, and the football noises annoy the rest of us and make us overstimulated, okay?
But y'all live in Michigan. Okay.
I know the Lions are playing on Thanksgiving.
That's a Michigan tradition. The Lions play every single Thanksgiving.
And we never, ever, ever turned the football on until you joined the family.
Right. And every time I try to watch the Lions game during Thanksgiving, it's just constant. Somebody walks over and goes like, is anyone watching this? Why is this on? Oh, can I turn this off? I don't think anyone's watching it. Why is the football on the TV?
My family is just so uninterested in football. We cannot fathom anyone wanting to watch this.
And then, when the nieces and nephews were 5-ish, I had some of them sitting next to me and I was trying to teach them football. And their mom walked over and said, no, you guys don't like football. Come hang out with the rest of the family. They were watching football with me. I was teaching them football. And your family's like, we can't learn football.
No, our family is not into football, okay? We are into science. We want these kids to be all into science and on the robotics team when they join high school, not the football team, okay?
Your family is a bunch of nerds.
We are. But you know how we fixed that? We just do Thanksgiving with your family now. And you get to watch your football every year.
Yeah, at least on the day. We tend to do Thanksgiving with your family on a different day, obviously.
We do Pie Day, which is the day before Thanksgiving, where we bake 20 pies. And it's a big family event, and that is way more important than actual Thanksgiving.
But I also have to add in, as a Lions fan, OP needs to calm the hell down. You have a good team. Don't be a dick about it.
Okay, yeah, we did go off on a personal football tangent there. Let's get back to the story in the comments.
And I know this is the Lions year. Every year is the Lions year. I'm on that bandwagon too. In hindsight, it's never been the Lions year. We've never made it to the Super Bowl.
We almost made it last year.
Yeah, those refs cheated us.
Another comment. Nah, girl, NTA, Uber Eats yourself something special and tell the refs to suck it as much as you want. The best part of staying home is getting to do all that in your PJs with no nephews and nieces yanking on your arm the whole time. It's your special day. Treat yourself.
Treat yourself. And you know what? If OP really, if they just want to watch the game by themselves in the, privacy of their own house where they can just wear their jersey and not talk to anyone, You know what? Maybe this is just that one day a year where OP isn't sociable.
Another comment. I mean, I agree with the responses saying grow up because, like, I get loving a sport and a team. OSU football here. Boo, boo OSU. But emotional regulation and self-control are 100% things adults should learn and practice. But regardless to how you behave cheering on your team, if you don't want to go to a party, you don't have to go to a party. The reason is kind of irrelevant. You want to be focused on the game, not engaging in small talk. That's fair, even if you aren't acting like a lunatic. It's also obviously not the most fun to watch such a huge game with a bunch of people that aren't fans of the same team as you. I'd rather stay home or go to a bar and cheer with a bunch of strangers that are cheering for the same team I am. So I land on NTA.
I mean, that is fair. You shouldn't have to go to a party against your will. The only reason I keep saying that OP maybe needs to calm down is because that is... If it sounds like OP's reasoning for not wanting to go to the party was that she is embarrassed about her own behavior during the football game.
She wants to scream as loud as she wants at the TV without people giving her weird looks, okay?
Right. And personally, I've never been to a Super Bowl party where I would think it was weird if somebody was just screaming at the TV like, yeah, go, go, go! But I guess it depends on how just batshit insane OP gets. You just can't trust an Eagles fan, honestly.
So Reddit is mostly NTA. I mean, we do get some comments that are like, maybe you should learn to control yourself a little. But by and large, it's like, hey, if you don't want to go to a party, don't go to a party. Enjoy yourself at home. This is your special day with your big team in the Super Bowl.
Am I the asshole for taking one of my husband's cheeseburgers?
Yes, that's an asshole move. Do not steal food from your partner. That is like the number one rule in our relationship. Don't steal food.
I think the number one rule in our relationship is don't steal food from Kristie.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
My husband and I have 3 sons. Last Saturday, he took them out to run errands while I stayed home to do housework. They went to McDonald's on the way home and brought back food for me. I told them to get me a 10-piece chicken nugget and medium fries. Apparently, the boys were still hungry in the car after eating their meals and asked my husband if they could have some of my food. He told them they could have a couple of nuggets and a few fries.
No! That is a terrible husband.
His reasoning was that I rarely finish my whole order, which is true. I usually eat 7 to 8 nuggets and most of the fries.
They can wait until after you've had your fill before mooching off of you.
Well, they each took 2 nuggets and a few fries, which means that what was handed to me for lunch was 4 nuggets and about 1/4 of the container of fries.
Husband better be making a trip back to McDonald's. This is his fault.
It just seems foolhardy to trust growing boys to be able to take a reasonable amount of food from mom's bag.
Well, Dad did say you can take a couple, but they each took a couple of nuggets.
Sounds like maybe they need to make bigger McDonald's orders or eat food when they get back home. My husband has this habit of buying himself 3 extra cheeseburgers when he goes to McDonald's so that he can eat them for breakfast the next day. He puts them in the waffle iron to reheat them. He swears it's his favorite breakfast. He's a weirdo. Anyway, knowing he has already eaten his full McDonald's lunch and he still had those cheeseburgers, I asked him for one so I could have a full lunch. He said no because he needs them for breakfast.
Duh! That's divorce!
Here's where I might be the asshole. I took one and ate it anyway. I was hungry and annoyed that my food was eaten, and it didn't make sense to me that he would deny me a full lunch so that he could have breakfast. He still has 2 cheeseburgers for breakfast. He can have an egg with them or something if it's not enough food. He got mad that I ate his cheeseburger and doesn't think it's the same as him letting the kids eat my food, because he didn't realize they took that much, so he didn't intend to upset me. Whereas I knew I was upsetting him when I took the cheeseburger. He thinks I could have just eaten leftovers or something. But like, he could do that too, and should, since he gave my food away. Am I the asshole here? He thinks I am because I took his food after he said no, but I was not given the opportunity to say no before he let the kids take my food, so it's not a fair comparison.
Not the asshole. I would be sending him back out to get me my full McDonald's order. And if he didn't want to do that, I would take his cheeseburgers and be like, well, is it important enough for you to go back to McDonald's to get your extra cheeseburgers for breakfast tomorrow? Yeah, what about that?
I think once he realized his mistake of letting their ravenous little piranhas eat all of OP's food, He should have just turned around.
I don't care how far away the McDonald's is. You go back and get me more, or find somewhere closer that is an alternative that is acceptable to me. You promised me lunch and did not deliver.
Right? And then he's got just extra food sitting there. And he's like, you can't have that extra food.
That's mine. You can't eat my food, but the little piranhas can eat your food. I love that you called them piranhas. That's a very good comparison.
That's just a wild train of thought to me. Like, I accidentally gave away 60% of your food, and I can't even give you a cheeseburger as an apology? I need them. I need to put them in a waffle maker in the morning like a sociopath.
Yeah, how would those turn out? I'm skeptical if those are good.
I'm going to be honest with you. I called him insane. He might be a mad genius, though. I'm legitimately curious. All right, let's jump over to top comment. If the kids are wolfing down their meals and still need more food while still in the car, he should have bought them backup food just like he buys himself backup food. Alternatively, he could have said, kids, you just ate. Let's wait until we get home. It can take time for your brain to recognize you're full. He could have also stopped at another fast food joint on the way home. They're only on every corner. That's too hard, apparently. The option he should not have gone with was, sure, kids, eat most of mom's food. She doesn't need it. And I've got backup waffle iron cheeseburgers. Not the asshole.
Yeah, also, I feel like when I was a kid, my parents are like, you can order whatever you want. And then I would. And then if I was like, I'm still hungry, they'll be like, well, too bad. Next time you order more food.
Yeah, they're either going to be like, next time order more food, or we have food at home. Just, you could eat something other than McDonald's for the rest of your meal if you're still hungry.
Yeah, I don't think it would have ever even crossed my mind that I could eat one of my parents' food before they got to eat it.
Somebody else comments, or with 3 kids and 3 extra cheeseburgers, he could have given them each one and his wife could have eaten her entire meal.
But no, he needs his breakfast.
He doesn't get 2 full meals while his wife goes hungry.
Yeah, husband seems extremely selfish. And I know I am selfish when it comes to food. Like, what's mine is mine. But I would also not go stealing from other people and, like, giving other people's food away.
It does seem a bit selfish to buy yourself, like, a second morning meal when you go to McDonald's. Maybe the rest of the family just doesn't want reheated McDonald's because...
That sounds gross.
Yeah, McDonald's generally doesn't reheat good. But, like, does anyone else get, like, a second little treat of some kind?
Sounds like no. Mom doesn't even get half a treat.
Another comment. The fact that he doesn't care about your meals shows how he views you. He made sure he had a full lunch and 3 backup burgers. Your kids also had their own meals, but you were left with scraps and just have to deal with it? Ask him if he would have the same reasoning if you allow your sons to eat more than half of his food in the future, before he even has a chance to have a bite. And then one final comment. So, you are basically the Hamburglar.
But her husband drove her to it, okay?
OP replied, "Mwahahaha."
It was a crime of hunger and passion.
I don't think any court in the nation would be willing to convict her for taking one of those cheeseburgers after she only got half of a meal. Not even half a meal. And Reddit very firmly agrees with that.
All right, that's our last story for this episode of Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet.
Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button and we'll see you next time.